Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing well there. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be great. Appreciate you stopping by. It was good to be back. Boots on the ground at the Heat's house, 601 Biscayne Boulevard, a.k.a. the Kaseya Center, the house formerly known as American Airlines Arena. We won't talk about that weird crypto scandal name that it had for a little bit. But no, it was good to be back, man. It was good to see some familiar faces. It was great to see everybody works at the building, and you can feel the vibe no matter what, man. It is good to see basketball, back in the fold, and it was good to see the Miami Heat off and running in this game against the Milwaukee Bucks team that definitely weird seeing Miles Turner in a Bucks jersey. I gotta be honest with you. I was like, well, that's kind of, it's a little strange. They rolled out there today: Miles Turner, Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., AJ Green, intangibles, and Gary Trent Jr. The Miami Heat rolled with their same starting lineup, Erik Spoelstra said, because he feels like it. And that was a starting lineup of Jaime Jaquez Jr., Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Nikola Jović, and the captain, Bam Adebayo. Not exactly a game that, got off to the smoothest start right off the bat, but they did find their footing off and running. And the thing that was really noticeable off the bat with this game was the man who really put up a lot of production. People thought I was crazy talking about this before the game because they were like, "Hey, what did you think of Norman Powell?" And this is where my insane watching of international basketball comes into the fold. Because I've told you guys, I didn't watch a ton of Norman Powell last year, right? Everybody raves about him. I've seen some highlights. I watch all this stuff, but it's like, I'm not watching Clippers games at 10 in the. I'm already watching enough Heat basketball as it is and all the local stuff here. I'm not tuning in and in tune with all the stuff going on with the Clippers. I just know that he had a very good season. I know he had a lot of respect around the league for what he did. And then I watched him on Team Jamaica. And I know that I dug his social media presence because dude seems like he loves fighting, which, is cool. I like guys who are in that world as well. So anyway, people were asking me about the Norman Powell thing, and I said that I wasn't too worried about his first performance with the Heat because I was like, it reminded me eerily of how he played for Team Jamaica, where in the first game, he played only 2 games for Team Jamaica. The first game, he kind of just was like, held on back, kind of let everybody feel their stuff out. And then game 2, boom, I think he had 34 points while having the flu. And today he just looked like more comfortable in his zone and was ready to get going, getting to his game. Had really, some sick connections from that starting unit off the rip. Norman Powell, the one that brought the house down immediately was Norman Powell finding Andrew Wiggins for a dunk. Andrew Wiggins, like a pogo stick, dude, with those healthy, spry legs to start this season. Him and Norman Powell connecting for a big one. And then just he was getting to his spots, a beautiful turnaround jumper over old intangibles. And he started off in his little run there with 8 points with the starters. Andrew Wiggins started with 7 points before the Heat would go to their second unit. And I was talking to somebody who was at a lot of the training camps and got to see some of the practices. And they had said, hey, the most consistent forces out there for the Heat were Wiggins and Powell. They had just brought a presence to the team, and it was noticeable. It was noticeable for sure. The second unit in this regard, not the best showing in the early going. It was one of those where it was a little bit a little clunkier than it was against Orlando. So that was it really kind of felt that way pretty much until there was 4 minutes left in the first half. That second unit didn't really get off the ground too well. And then the starters came back in and they were just not on the same page, dude. They were they were all over the place. Miles Turner was taking the ball from Bam. I think he took the ball from Jaime. Bam threw the ball off of Nikola Jovic's face. And Spo talked about this after the game. Just mindless turnovers. They just couldn't play clean. And yeah, it was a strange one. Not a lot of feel today, I would say, from Adebayo on some certain things. Like he had a chase down block. I think he just got to a point where he was getting frustrated and just like got a chase down block on Kyle Kuzma. But then on the other end, Kevin Porter Jr. comes back and got a block on him. So that was that was definitely one of those things where I was like, all right, it just felt like it got the team in a little bit of a lull. But then they got to this point when they were down about 7 in the first half where things just started to roll. And Jaime had a nice hit ahead pass to Nikola Jović, who had a nice little dish into the corner for Norman Powell for a 3-ball. And that got the Heat starting to roll back in their favor, got them going a little bit. Powell, was finding his shot. He was doing a good job. I'm looking at this point, Bam had 4 turnovers in the game. And then yeah, man, Nico really got to work. I mean, he really did. He had a couple of great buckets over Bobby Portis. He had a nice 3-ball over him. And then the thing that I really liked is that, like, he took him down in the post, little spin work off him to score off the glass. I was like, I liked seeing the versatility of that from Jović. That was definitely noticeable. And then Powell was really using his teammates well. He had he had a really good run. He had a 3 from Bam. He was using, Nico screened him free, got to the basket for a bucket. Norman was really feeling himself in that first half, and he ended up finishing with 18 points. How many minutes did he end up playing today? Not 18 points in 16 minutes, 6 of 12 from the floor, 3 of 6 from downtown, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. And yeah, he was a bucket today. He absolutely got going. Bam in his first half, 5 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, but I had 5 turnovers. So not like the cleanest game in the world from Bam. And Spo was definitely frustrated by the amount of turnovers from his team today. And Bam was probably the biggest culprit of that. A lot of these guys are getting to know each other. I mean, you do have to give some grace on that. These guys getting on the same page. They are trying to play faster. We did see that element to it as well. The second half was honestly even probably more intriguing than the first half, even though you didn't have the more familiar names. And I think that was for a couple of reasons. You were watching the rotations. You were looking when guys were going out there. And you were looking to see, who could kind of flourish with the opportunities. Now, the second half starts up, and it was noticeable that the Heat did not start Kel'el Ware. They decided to go with Jaime Jaquez Jr., Trevor Keels, Jameer Young, Precious Achiuwa, and Nikola Jović. You're like, Achiuwa over Kel'el Ware? That's a little bit odd. Okay. And it's not like, this is not like you're trying to keep like rotate. It's not the regular season where you're like trying to keep a guy in a role, right? I don't know. That was certainly noticeable. And then Kel'el had his own roller coaster ride that we're going to get into here in just a second. That was fascinating. But in the early math, Nico was a couple things like Jaime Jaquez Jr. He was having a little bit of trouble in the first half. Like, that spin move that he loves to go to, it seemed a little figured out. He just hasn't been able to find that finish, that touch around the rim. And then he got a nice little easy one from Jameer Young. And it really felt like it settled him down a little bit. And then he took a very confident 3 at the top of the arc, which tied up the game for Miami. And then he started finding his teammates. He got Precious involved in a bucket. And then Nico got a coast-to-coast, caused the Bucks to call timeout. But then probably the play of the game from them, and this would be their kind of cap off for it, was Nico setting up, who I think he's the best lob thrower on the team. Kel'el Ware says it's Pella. But he throws a beautiful lob, and Jaime just skies it, brings it down. Fans go crazy. I asked Nico about it after the game, and this is what he had to say.
Really about that in that third quarter, that time you and Jaime had together, specifically with that alley-oop.
Oh, I mean, I was just trying to check if, he can still jump, after that dunk contest. I haven't seen him do much since, so I just wanted to make sure he's looking good. But yeah, Jaime's playing unbelievable basketball, he's doing a lot of ball handling, which, I feel like he hasn't really been used to, but he's looking really good. So, I'm happy for him, getting back what he was doing in his first year, and I'm sure he'll look a lot better this year.
That dude's a rascal. Funny. It is. Listen. I love bits. I love funny. So that is, and that's what it was. But it did feel good. It honestly, it genuinely felt good to see Jaime just play good basketball. Just he looked confident in himself, and seeing the ball go in, I think, did him wonders. So we had that, and then we had the Kel'el thing, which was definitely fascinating. There was a lot to like take from this because Kel'el is coming in here late in the game and late in the third quarter. It's like him, Keshad. I don't even remember who they were out there with. They were out there with, I think, with those same guys, Keels, Gardner, and Jameer Young. I think that was pretty much the lineup. If I'm messing it up, I apologize. But I think that was those are the candidates. Yeah, Myron Gardner and Jameer Young they had their own cool little fast break alley-oop. But look, there's definitely a message Spo is trying to send here with Kel'el. And he wants winning habits. He's not going to change his standard for it. It's honestly interesting because Spo feels like he's gone into this mode a little bit where he's letting it rip a little bit more. But the guy who has been numero uno on the tough love category from Erik Spoelstra has been Ware. And I'm curious to see where this goes for him. I definitely am, because I still think he's a very, very talented player. And I think a lot of what the impact that they wanted, because I was watching this stuff very closely, did a lot of bench watching tonight, did a lot of timeout watching tonight, and seeing how guys were interacting with him. Because he did finish. Like, if you just looked, I think if you see the highlight films, if you looked at it, dude, Kel'el Ware had 18 points, had 13 rebounds. It was big numbers against a Bucks team that was, playing. I think he was playing against like Larry Nance's brother, Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Like, this is not the height of heights as far as competition. But the problem is that the Heat want him to bring it full go all the time, no matter the circumstances. And he's even admitted, like when I talked about Media Day this year, he goes, yeah, I was slacking a little bit. He had some awareness in it. But I don't think of this guy, I find him to be a fascinating young man because I don't think of Kel'el as a guy who takes a lot of things very personally, super sensitive. At least that's what I see on the front. Like, I remember with the Hassan stuff, and I didn't cover Hassan day to day. It was more so doing the radio stuff at that point. But Hassan was like really Hassan really took some stuff personally. And I do think that Kel'el is handling all this stuff in stride and trying to brave a lot of this stuff and take it on the chin and take constructive criticism.
Like the numbers, don't want to see the minus 20 plus minus, want to see it turn around. How much do you notice that? How much do you and him sort of trying to get on the same page with things like that?
I mean, yeah, it's it's all about getting to a point, where I'm, affecting winning basketball, and so, just being able to go out there, impact the game in a positive way.
And you can see, like, it's interesting watching the benches, right? Because he's almost got like a little bit of, even on the locker room, he's got a little bit of a good cop, bad cop thing going on. Like, Tyler's his buddy. Tyler Hero, and this was actually a cool thing. Tyler Hero was on the bench, but it was noticeable. No boot, no scoot. All right. There was some boogie. That's a -1. I just give it to myself on the zone channel. I'm sorry. I don't have the numbers I don't have that sound effect with me, but I'll try that joke again tomorrow on Leroy, see how it goes over. But no boot, didn't have the scooter. He was wearing sneakers. He was kind of walking around. Obviously, he's not running, but definitely for a media day where he had to hop around like a kangaroo, he looked better. So that was good news. But you can even see, like, Kel'el, there was at one point where Kel'el wasn't in the game. And, you can see that, like, Tyler's having a moment with him to try and kind of loosen him up and feel all right. And then, as he gets in the game and the game is, like, kind of slipping away a little bit from the Heat and they got to find their way back into the game, you can see at one point, like, it was all the young guys. I think there was about, let me see if I have my notes on when this was. Yeah, okay, so here's what happened. It was, I think, no, it wasn't when it was about, they were tied up. I think it was like around 74-74. And I don't remember which came first. I can't remember on my notes here, but Kel'el Ware throws up this crazy bucket. Like, this dude has the ability to, like, make these incredible circus shots. He's done this against the Warriors. He did this one tonight where he just, like, whoop, just throws that puppy up and it goes in. Amazing. But at one point when they're in timeout, the rookies or the end of roster guys, the Exhibit 10 guys, and Keyshawn Johnson. So I think it's Keels, it's Gardner, it's Young, it's Keyshawn, and then it's Kel'el. And they're in the midst of a timeout. And yeah, it was, okay, here, it was 77-74, I think. And yeah, you could see that, like, Bam, okay, this was so 77-74, Bucks call timeout. They're in timeout. Bam's giving, like, a little speech to the three young guys, Keyshawn and Kel'el. But then right before Kel'el goes on the court, he gives, I don't know what he says to him, but he says, like, a little something like, animated, right? And Kel'el comes right out there, whoop, whoop, hits the incredible circus shot and one. You're just like, how the hell did he make that? And yeah, so, like, whatever the hell happened there, it felt like, okay, something feels like it got sparked there. And then all of a sudden, Kel'el is out there. He's getting in. It was the thing that Bam really jumped out of his chair where he got an offensive rebound, followed up with a slam. And Bam really liked that. And then at one point, he starts hitting, he hits a three. He's feeling smooth with it. Gives the Heat the lead. I believe that was the Heat's last lead of the game. And so you could see Adebayo was pleased with that. But on the other end of it, there wasn't a lot of defensive deterrent. And he's kind of the guy you're like, hey, you got to be a force here. Bam said he thinks he could be a depoy candidate. He could be a force of nature. And he just didn't feel that. Like, and I know, like, he had a little bit of a weird matchup because he was going up against Larry Nance's brother, who was a stretch big and was, like, throwing up threes left and right. But even at times where, like, he was there, like, there wasn't a lot of resistance at the paint. And I think this is the thing we're trying to see and what the Heat are trying to draw out of him, whether it be the good cop, bad cop with Bam and Tyler or with Erik Spoelstra, who basically said, he looks at his 18 and 13, he basically says, like, I don't care about stats. He said there was a 3-minute stretch there. I think it's the one that he goes, that's where he needs. He gets the steal, 3 minutes of energy. I'd love to know what his plus minus is. His plus minus over the game was -30 or -20, excuse me. And Spo wants to see him bring it on both ends all the time, not this flipping the switch thing. So, look, this is going to be a fascinating thing for sure. I'm very curious to see how this all turns out. Overall, this has been a pretty intriguing start to the preseason based on we have seen the fast-paced stuff. We have now gotten to see Norman Powell unlock his powers a little bit. We've seen a very engaged Andrew Wiggins. We haven't gotten I mean, we haven't gotten really like, we didn't get the best Bam out of Bio today. We got a very aggressive Bam in game 1 who got to the free throw line a ton. And Jović, I mean, like, look, I mean, people are making jokes in the comments. I mean, like, he's just, to me, he's the most, he's been so fun getting everybody involved. It's fun to see this growth. Spo actually was pretty hard on him today too. He was talking about, he was happy with his rebounding because Nico finished today with a near triple-double in 23 minutes. Flirted with a triple-double. 9 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. And he was making the point today, Spo, he's like, Jović has improved in a lot of ways, but the one place he's got to is rebounding. And like we saw that tonight, what he's capable of. Let me see if I got, some of the comments that he had about it, where he's like, he said, I don't want him to settle. He's been better everywhere but rebounding. He needs to take it personally. He's capable. And then, Spo was on one today, man. He was fiery. He was fiery. I'm kind of interested to see where this goes with Erik Spoelstra this year. He seems like a guy. He feels to me like he's entering a new era of Erik Spoelstra, like a personality wise in front of the media. This is the I'm taking note of it. I'm like, it's not just the Kel'el stuff. It feels like the Kel'el stuff may have been like a pivot point for him, but he was fiery after the game today. But a fascinating night. Good to be back, boots on the ground. I will not be there on Wednesday. I got some other obligations, but I will recap it. We will watch it, and we'll see where things go from there.